I really started to recognize that there were not enough women involved. And, the average high-level entrepreneurial community has about 15% woman. And that just wasn't enough for me. It was pretty low.
What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my brand new show, AlphaProMega. AlphaProMega is going to focus on interviewing entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated the difficult terrain of entrepreneurship to bring you the answers to your questions and help you along the way by educating you on how to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe. Stay tuned. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm here to tell you that I am excited because today I am interviewing Alexis of Dovetail. Dovetail is a business specifically designed to cater to entrepreneurial women and help empower them around the globe.
Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure, Alexis. Thank you for coming. So Alexis, what actually took you down this path of entrepreneurship, especially to empower women around the globe?
Yeah, well, I started the community of Dovetail because it was something that I needed. I actually was an entrepreneur with another business, so I have a corporate team building and training company, and I grew that and scaled it to a point where I was beginning to be invited to participate in entrepreneurial events with other entrepreneurs. And because I was going to these things, I really started to recognize that there were not enough women involved. And the average high-level entrepreneurial community has about 15% woman. And that just wasn't enough for me. It was pretty low. And I love them, and I love guys too, but I also knew that if I could see it, I could be it. And so I wanted to really see those women and learn from them and become friends with them, more than just seeing them on the occasional stage, but to really connect with them in a bigger way.
Let's say I'm a female entrepreneur and I'd like to join your business. How do I go about becoming a part of it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because like most entrepreneurs, I started something that I needed, and to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't know that it was going to be a whole other business. And so it really just started through word of mouth. And I started with 5 friends who were, entrepreneurs who knew other entrepreneurs. And so I went to them and I said, this is the profile of the woman that we're looking for. We're looking for women whose businesses are averaging, 7 to 9 figures in annual revenue, that are niche experts. And so I said, this is who we're looking for. Who do you know? And so those 5 pillar women then reached out to women that they knew. And that's really how the business has grown.
Network is your net worth.
Exactly. As you said, your network is your net worth.
Right.
And what we provide is we open our community once a year through our summit event. So our women in the Philippines fly to, as for now this year, we're actually running our program in Tofino in British Columbia.
Wow.
So we rent out private lodges, and we do things quite differently from a typical conference. It's a small group, right? It's only 50 women.
Feels more like camping?
No, it's a private lodge that's quite nice. Yeah, it's not camping.
It's not camping.
No, not for our
But
summit.
it's out in nature.
That's
sort of
yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful lodge with all of the amenities in a beautiful location of the world. And so they'll fly in, and what we create for the weekend is the opportunity to build deep connections that you will really not build at a conference or a typical event or an online group. So we start with that. So we spend 4 days together in intensive community. We have mastermind groups and workshops and talks, and we also have shared experiences. We'll be out whale watching when we're in Tofino, and there's an opportunity to go surfing for ladies that are a little more adventurous.
Wow.
And so we start with that, and that really
So do you do this in the summer, by the way, for the surfing?
Yeah, well, we're in May this year. But that really, by starting there, creates a really, really beautiful connection among the women, because you've spent 4 days together and you really get to know each other. And then when they go back to their home countries, a lot of our ladies travel very frequently, and so they remain connected by coming to other events. So this past year we did a wine touring weekend, we did a trip to New York, we had a couple of cottage or lake house trips. And so we offer smaller trips and things as well as an online community. So
very cool.
We have a portal on our website for members where they can go and access information about other members if they're looking for resources, that kind of thing. We also have a private Facebook group.
I want to thank my guest today, Alexis Dean, for joining us and telling us about her business, Dovetail, so that we could all learn more about the entrepreneurship experience that she had, and we can all apply it to our own businesses one day.
Thanks for having me. My
absolute pleasure. If you enjoyed the show and if you took away anything of value from it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications and tune in every time that we produce a new video for your enjoyment pleasure. Cheers.
So you're not required to have an exotic car. You as a member are sort of part of our fleet, and that's how you get access, and we carry the insurance for you.
What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my brand new show, AlphaProMega. AlphaProMega is going to focus on interviewing entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated the difficult terrain of entrepreneurship to bring you the answers to your questions and help you along the way by educating you on how to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe. Stay tuned. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce Steve, who owns Club 27 in Mississauga and operates it. And I'm very happy because he's not only given us the privilege to be here, but he's also allowed us to enjoy company with beautiful cars, amazing people, and wonderful food and drinks. So thank you so much for having us here, Steve.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Great to have you here tonight. This is a multifaceted club. We're a private club. We're an event space. We host private parties, our own parties. We do music videos. All sorts of different things can be done in here. A lot of business meeting, lunch and learn, so all sorts of things.
And in the case that somebody does decide to become a member, do they need to have an exotic car to even join, or how does it actually work? What does it entail?
So you're not required to have an exotic car. It's really a referral-based membership. So another member will refer someone, or you've come to an event and you want to know more about it and you get to know us.
Right.
You are generally looking for two types of membership, a social membership or a driver membership.
Okay.
Social membership gives you access to the club, the events we host, VIP parties, coming in and using the boardrooms, bringing guests in. And driver membership does all of that, but begins to get you access to some of the shared cars.
So when you have the access to the shared cars, again, you don't have to have a car to be a member of that. And if you do get access to the shared cars, I know one of the first things people will ask is, one, how much does it cost? And two, how do you get insurance if it's a shared car?
Right, so the cars work on a fleet type model.
Okay.
So you as a member are sort of part of our fleet, and that's how you get access, and we carry the insurance for it. You do have to have a driver's license, Canadian driver's license, or authorized international driver's license. And so, but that gives you then access to the vehicles at that point. Generally, the driver membership starts at around $1,800 a month and an $8,000 initiation one time. But if you look at what it's cost to lease one of these vehicles, just one, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's
and,
a great deal.
And you're not paying maintenance and there's no depreciation.
There, you avoid the depreciation. You don't have to worry about maintenance, which I know on these big ticket cars when it's $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for a
30%
car,
like first year, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to lose at least 100 G's first year.
Right.
And if you do happen after warranty, after the first 4 years pass, if you do happen to take a big hit, you might be spending another 30, 40, 100 G's, whatever.
Yeah.
Just fix it. If they have this racing simulator that you have here and they use it, it's going to give them that.
Yeah, and we also can spend time, if they're not familiar, we can spend time educating them how to drive the car so they don't kill themselves in the car, which is kind of important.
Of course, everybody wants to come out of this experience happy and safe. So Club 27, guys, beautiful place. I know I had a wonderful time here every time I came, and to be honest, the first time somebody invited me here, they were like, one day I'm going to take you to this beautiful exotic car club out in Mississauga. And I remember even just envisioning it, I was like, that sounds really cool. And when I came, I was like, this is even better than I imagined, because you have such a wonderful space. Not even just nice cars, like the place is incredibly luxurious. Even your bathrooms are fancy. Like,
thank you.
From A to Z, this place is really top notch, and I love being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us, Steve.
You're welcome.
Stay blessed.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed the show and if you took away anything of value from it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications and tune in every time that we produce a new video for your enjoyment pleasure. Cheers.
Today may be a bad day, but tomorrow is a different day. So it's not, how many times you win, it's also how many times you lose and get up and continue going as an entrepreneur. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my brand new show, AlphaProMega. AlphaProMega is going to focus on interviewing entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated the difficult terrain of entrepreneurship to bring you the answers to your questions and help you along the way by educating you on how to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe. Stay tuned. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce Sarah Makhomet of Dominion Lending Canada, who will be talking about real estate, lending, mortgages, and much more. Just talk a little bit about myself first to start with. So I have been a mortgage broker for over 10 years, but I'm also a broker owner, which means I own a mortgage brokerage, and we really have one of the best teams in the country that we're blessed to work with. And we have incredible relationships with our lenders and our banks, our credit unions, so we're grateful for that. That's what we do on a daily basis.
For viewers who may be interested in buying a home, for example, what are some of the tips that you can actually give them to make that happen? and help them achieve their dreams?
Sure. So if you're looking to buy a home in Canada, I mean, the best way to do it is probably to get pre-approved, and then I'll go with the real estate agent to look for a home. I do think working with a real estate agent is still such a great idea. They are the experts in the field. In order to get a mortgage, most of the time we ask people to. There are a few requirements. Credit is one of them, so we'll look to see what your credit and what your repayment history is like. We'll also look at your income. So would you be self-employed or employed? There are different qualifications for that. And then we also look at your down payment and see how much you have saved.
And is it right now 5% of any home?
Yeah, so in Canada you're still able to buy with 5%. And people say, do you have to be a first-time buyer? No, you don't have to be a first-time buyer. You can buy second, third time. If you buy in rental properties, then you do require 20% for a down payment. However, if you buy
rental that means to rent to somebody else.
To rent it to somebody else, correct. However, if it's your primary residence, you can buy it with as little as 5% down.
But to make it a business, so to speak, it's 20%, you said?
Yeah, if you're looking to generate rental income from a rental property, you would need to have 20% as a down payment.
Yeah, that's very interesting. If somebody wanted to get a pre-approval, as you suggested, what would be that process like, if you could walk me through?
Sure. I mean, that's a great question. I recommend that everybody gets pre-approved before they go out and they know exactly what they qualified for. It is fairly easy. You have to submit your income documents, employed or self-employed. There's a different list.
To who? Who do you submit it to?
You will submit it to one of our underwriters. Okay. So you submit it to one of our underwriters. We will usually ask for your income documents and then your down payment documents. And then we will pull your credit bureau to show us what your credit is like through Equifax or TransUnion.
Okay.
And that gives us, an idea, what do you qualify for. And usually we're quite quick, I'd say that, 24 hours or so we come back with an answer and know that you are pre-approved, and now you have a peace of mind and you can go ahead and start home shopping.
What are some of the roadblocks that you've faced over the past 10 years as an entrepreneur that you've overcame, and what did you learn from that experience? That's a great question. I would say there are lots of things that I've learned and many things that I will continue learning, on my entrepreneurial journey and for the rest of my life as a human being. But I think it's to have probably a thick skin and continue working hard. It is really important, you understand that, today may be a bad day, maybe it didn't go your way. But tomorrow is a different day, so it's not how many times you win, it's also how many times you lose and get up and continue going as an entrepreneur. Perseverance is so important in the industry. In general, being an entrepreneur and also being self-motivated. I mean, it's a big part of it. There is nobody, you're your own boss. But for some people it's a great thing, for some people it's a terrible thing. And quite often you don't have to go to the office too. For some people it's amazing, for some people not so much. So there are lots of benefits and pros and cons, I would say. So you wouldn't say it's made for everybody, but if you are made for it, so to speak, you should embrace it.
Correct. Yeah. If you do know that you will work hard and you
don't need a taskmaster telling you what to do.
This is probably something you wanted to get into. However, if you know that you need that motivation, then it becomes much harder for you to become an entrepreneur, to be honest.
Brilliant. And could you give us maybe one example of the roadblocks you faced and overcame, especially one that you felt was so difficult, so perhaps our viewers could learn something they could apply in their journey?
That's a great question. I have to think about it. But I would say that, probably the biggest challenge is working with clients and understanding that they might have a good day and a bad day. And so you have to work with that. I have a team of agents, and sometimes they say, well, I don't like to work with this person because they're not the nicest person. I say, unfortunately, that's how it is. And quite often, not the nicest person might just have a bad day. Something happened in their family, with their spouse, with their children. Correct, we're emotional beings. So being able to work and stay and have your kind of emotions on check in a way, say that, okay, I'm at work and I have to be a professional and courteous with everybody, and so that's what really matters most of the time.
Brilliant. Yeah, I can definitely see how difficult it may be, especially when people have mortgages. I know mortgages put pressure on people.
Of course, yes. It's financial, right? We're talking about finances, we're talking about probably the biggest buying decision of somebody's lifetime. And so I understand it's a lot of emotions, and it's also not easy for many clients to make decisions, But at the end of the day, that's what we're there for, is to guide them and make sure that they are comfortable with the entire buying process.
Are you interested in getting a mortgage in Canada? Sarah Makhomet is the right person to talk to. Stay tuned and learn more. If you enjoyed the show and if you took away anything of value from it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications and tune in every time that we produce a new video for your enjoyment pleasure. Cheers.
We don't need the kids to suffer anymore. Everyone and anyone can use it. So we want to create a movement so that no more Arabic is hard. No kids say, I hate Arabic anymore. That's it.
What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my brand new show, AlphaProMega. AlphaProMega is going to focus on interviewing entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated the difficult terrain of entrepreneurship to bring you the answers to your questions and help you along the way by educating you on how to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe. Stay tuned. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm interviewing Dajani about her business, eduTechnoz, which produces Arabic games to teach her players how to learn Arabic without suffering through lectures and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm very excited to learn more about it and to hopefully teach our members about all the opportunities they can have by joining your project.
Thank you for having me, first of all. And the whole journey started when my son started hating Arabic and preferring English because it was easier and more fun. And I had a full-time job. I'm a computer engineer by profession. Then when I looked online, tried to find games to make it fun for him, I couldn't find it, so I made games for him. And I mapped the games to the school. Whatever the school is teaching, I would make a game specifically for that. With time, my friends started wanting these games, and then the job became very hard.
Wow.
Because it's like a full-time job to make these games for him.
Of course.
And so this was the beginning. Can I actually make this a business and go full-fledged? And this is where feasibility study happened. A lot of research came into, and today we have over 4,000 resources, and we went from not just games, we have also e-books, and we have worksheets all mapped to the curriculums, the local curriculums that we're operating in. And we have users from all over like 45 countries all over the world.
45 different countries? Wow,
yes,
that's
global,
huge.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in asking you about some of the roadblocks you faced while pursuing this entrepreneurial venture to create an Arabic game that educates the players.
Well, if we're going to go back to the beginning, the first and the biggest obstacle is actually to start.
Right.
There's this battle, should I, am I the right person, do I have what it takes?
Willpower.
Is it validated? I'm doing it for my son, would it work for everyone? Okay, these are my friends. So that was one of the biggest challenges, and it took a long journey of reading and talking to the right people, mentorship to actually power up. And one of the things that helped me personally to get started is actually I started my MBA. and it helped out in mapping. It's like, okay, so this is the proper education, and these are the proper steps. And from my MBA, I applied for a competition, and then I won 2 awards in one night.
Wow.
Getting that validation.
In one night?
One night. And eduTechnoz project
How
was...
did that happen? How did you get 2 awards in one night?
Applied for one competition because I got nominated like top 3.
Okay.
Then that automatically made us pitch for MIT Pan-Arab Forum competition. So we automatically pitched to the judges there, and they selected, they gave me basically the award of Best Female Entrepreneur from the project, and that was very dear. And then the media started, the press, the phone wouldn't stop ringing. Schools want to join, and
that's huge.
And like within...
This was in what year?
This was 2012.
12.
Yes, 2012. And all of that happened. And then we were not just break-even, profitable.
Wow.
Immediately. It was like crazy.
Yeah, that's very rare.
But then we have captured the pioneers, and then when we wanted to push for the mainstream, orders plateaued. And then I had to go to the schools and figure out what's going on, meeting with the teachers and everything else. And then the final conclusion was the teachers were not ready to use technology in classrooms. Some of them didn't even know how to use the computer yet or the internet. So it was a very tough decision. You have to actually create a market if you're gonna do that, and how serious are you, and would you do this or not? And I believe it was very tough, and I was like, okay, I still want to do it, but at this point there is not enough financial stamina to actually create a market. It's a small business,
right?
You know?
Well, you had profits, but it was probably not enough to scale
to create a movement and to do all of that. But then, so I got myself a bread job, and one day after 2 to 3 months, I don't remember exactly, but I remember that day. It was almost at the end of the job.
Yeah.
And just to say, while I was at the bread job, I was still doing the workshops, educating the teachers and training them and the parents and everything else. Qatar National Library called and they said the purchase order is ready for a national license in Qatar. I flew to the center and they were asking what is the mailing address, and I was like, oh, can I just come? I flew there. I was on top of the moon.
Wow.
And then we had some financial stamina to actually keep pushing. And we have created the market. The teachers, we have managed to motivate them, like the percentage of motivation was over 400%. And this is just merely by basically, we made a competition. Only 3 teachers won, the first one, and within 3 months, you're talking about over 17 teachers won. So that's where the 400% comes in. So yeah, there are like the scalability is definitely on the Arabic language first, and with this new model, making it because we don't need the kids to suffer anymore. Everyone and anyone can use it. So we want to create a movement so that no more Arabic is hard. No kids say I hate Arabic anymore. That's it. And we want to take this also to international markets like China and India. And then the other scalability that we're going to be doing is other languages as well, and we're going to start with the Persian, Farsi, and Urdu.
Really huge, actually. There are a lot of people who speak, Farsi in Canada.
And Urdu as well. And the idea is because they use the same letters, and our new model have figured out where the agony is, and it can be mapped to them as well.
I want to thank my guest today, Dajani of eduTechnoz, for joining us and telling us about her beautiful business that uses gaming to educate players about languages such as Arabic, and for sharing her entrepreneurial experience so that we can all benefit from it. Thanks again for joining us today.
It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the show and if you took away anything of value from it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications and tune in every time that we produce a new video for your enjoyment pleasure. Cheers.
In the investment world, most people are showing you, here's a fish. I'm showing people how to fish through education so they can go off and do this on any type of investment, be it stock, be it real estate, be it crypto, for the rest of their lives.
What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my brand new show, AlphaProMega. AlphaProMega is going to focus on interviewing entrepreneurs who have successfully navigated the difficult terrain of entrepreneurship to bring you the answers to your questions and help you along the way by educating you on how to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe. Stay tuned. What's going on YouTube? AlphaProMega here, and I'm very excited to interview Brian Bogaert of NLS Coaching, where you can learn more about finance, real estate, and a whole other spectrum of other things. We're going to be discussing blockchain, we're going to be discussing finance, real estate, and much more to help you on your entrepreneurial adventure. When you first decided to do this, did you have a plan, and what were you thinking really?
Quite honestly, no, not a formal plan. When I first got into this, it was because of someone I knew, someone I was sitting beside at work. I found out that they were doing something, and it looked like a path out of the corporate world. I think people would be interested in learning about real estate investing, and that's exactly what we did. Now, since then, him and I, that company separated. He went out west, I came out east, and then I've started my own coaching company since then.
From the point you launched it until you sort of bought it back from him or took full control, how many years was that?
It was about 4 years.
4 years, impressive. And in those 4 years, if you don't mind me asking, like how many figures did you guys manage to successfully?
Yeah, so we, when we started out, we wanted to do 100 units with partners, so 100 real estate units. We wound up doing 25, sometimes it doesn't go, but at the time we were living in Calgary and the marketplace did better than we imagined. Those 25 units did better than what we had projected for 100. So I think at our height, when we had 25 units, that was probably around 12 buildings, let's say $500,000 per building. So we were somewhere in the neighborhood of about $6 million in assets, and each one of those producing somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 to $600 a month in cash flow.
Wow.
I know that I get a lot of feedback about, oh, it's so nice to finally meet someone that I can just have a conversation with. Yeah. You're objective. I don't think you're trying to sell me something. And there's that inherent trust. And that is winning people over for wanting to work with me. Well, that's exactly what I see when it comes to the blockchain. People are tired of that, well, how am I being manipulated for your gain? Right? You see all these commercials on TV with the banks and that of, the person is always dancing on the beach after retirement, but it's the banks that are making all the money,
That's
not
true.
the actual individual people.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
So I think people are tired of that. I think that's why the blockchain is taking off as quickly as it is because people are looking for an alternative
Absolutely.
where they know that that trust is built inherently into the system.
I couldn't agree more.
Now, how is that going to impact my business? Well, I'm still about education. So in this case, it becomes maybe educating people about how to evaluate blockchain or crypto investments, right? How do you know which are the good ones? You know, ultimately what I'm showing people to do is what is a process that you can use regardless of what investment it is, every single time, step by step, paint by numbers, that's going to show you, does this investment align with the goals you're trying to achieve? Is it a good, sound investment? And are the people that you're partnering with actually in integrity?
Yeah.
So will that apply to crypto investments? Absolutely.
Of course.
And the blockchain, just by that being that instant trust, I think it's going to remove a lot of the chances of shadiness that we see in investments today, right?
One of my good friends asked me, he's like, I've been saving cash. I don't know what to do with it. Do you think I should buy stocks? Do you buy stocks? And I said, of course not. Why would I buy stocks? This is super risky.
Yeah.
It's completely rigged by a plunge protection team that was put in place by President Clinton, I believe, in the 90s. And it goes in every time like it plummets by like 4,000 points, it gets like pushed back up like 3,000 points within hours, and you're like,
the emotional roller coaster, right?
is this even real?
Yeah.
Like how much of it, like should I even participate in this when I can't even foresee the future because it seems rigged?
And none of the the professionals, the experts, none of them are either. You know, Warren Buffett is a great, I love to quote him. Do you know what his #1 rule for investing is?
Invest in only what you know or something like that?
That's one of his rules, but it's not his #1 rule.
Number one.
His #1 rule is never lose money.
Yeah, that's a good one.
His #2 rule is see rule #1.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. Did you know that there are mechanisms when you purchase a stock so that you won't lose your original capital? Did you know that?
Are you talking about having a limit where it automatically sells if it drops?
Exactly. It's called a stop.
Yes.
Okay. So when was the last time a financial advisor had a chat with you and educated you about that was an option when you purchased stocks?
Never.
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 But if that's Warren Buffett, the richest investor, the most successful investor in history, if that's his #1 rule, shouldn't that be the first thing when you go to your bank and sit down across from your advisor? Shouldn't that be the first thing that they teach you?
Yeah.
And if you're in the mutual fund world, which the vast majority of Canadians are, there actually is no stop mechanism in that.
Yeah.
So there is no way to protect your capital going in.
true.
And in my own business, what I say to people is, in the investment world, most people are showing you, here's a fish.
Yeah.
I'm showing people how to fish
That's
through
right.
education so they can go off and do this on any type of investment, be it stock, be it real estate, be it crypto, for the rest of their lives.
Thank you guys for joining us today. I had a phenomenal time interviewing Brian, and I couldn't be more happy to have him as a guest for us at AlphaProMega. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Stay blessed. If you enjoyed the show and if you took away anything of value from it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications and tune in every time that we produce a new video for your enjoyment pleasure. Cheers.